Shoppers are still taking advantage now of the tax-free weekend, hoping to find some deals. Local 10's Syra Anwar is live. She lost her husband in the Stoneman Douglas tragedy, and ever since, Debbie Hickson has worked towards making a change. Earlier today, she made it official, announcing her plans to run for a seat on the Broward County School Board.
And Local 10's Alex Finney caught up with her in Fort Lauderdale, and she joined.
Take a look at this close call caught on camera as a Colorado woman vacationing in Canada is confronted by a bear. Sherry,
come on, people! Come on, hurry! Hurry!
Well, you got to take a look at this. Good Samaritan saving one man's life after a driver crashed his car into a massive tree in California. Witnesses say that the driver and one passenger jumped out of the SUV immediately after the crash, but there was one person still trapped inside. More than a dozen strangers rushed to the scene in spite of their fears of the smoking car, that it could explode or even tip over on them. Now, after lots of well, the Marlins haven't won many games this season, but the one thing they've done plenty of is fight until the final out. They did that again this thriller Thursday against the Twins, and it paid off. They were down 4-1 in the 9th inning at the ballpark. Neil Walker caps the comeback with the bases loaded, singles up the middle. 2 runs come in, and we're all tied up at 4. It stayed that way until the bottom of the 12th inning. Harold Ramirez be the hero. I'm also condemning the deadly attacks in a televised address this morning. The president blamed violent video games, the internet, and poor access to mental health care for the mass shootings. He denounced white supremacy, racism, and voiced his support for capital punishment.
Today, I'm also directing the Department of Justice to propose legislation ensuring that those who commit hate crimes and mass murders.
The address followed his tweets this morning suggesting tying immigration legislation to gun control initiatives for stronger background checks. Water notice for Las Olas Isles has been lifted. The city of Fort Lauderdale and the state's Department of Environmental Protection issued an all clear earlier today. That notice has been lifted for South Gordon Road, Hendricks Isle, Mola Avenue, Isle of Capri, and Bontona Ave, as well as Coconut Isle. Now, officials are reporting that the water in those areas is now safe to drink and to use. And a no-swim advisory remains in effect for parts of Miami Beach after a sewer pipe leak last week. Authorities are asking swimmers to avoid the areas of 1st Street through 5th Street and the area of Biscayne Bay from South Point Drive to 14th Street. Your pop topics: a frightening flight for Diplo after a window in his jet cracked mid-flight. Now, he posted 2 photos from the flight, one showing him meditating in the back of the plane. The Fast and Furious spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, crossed the finish line first this weekend, and the action flick raked in more than $180 million worldwide debut. Now, the Fast and Furious series has seen a lot of success, generating more than $5 billion across the 8 previous films. One of the main stars of the film, The Rock, of course, reacted to this message on Twitter, saying, "Thanks to everyone for making Hobbs and Shaw the #1 movie around the world." Of course, you can see it on an IMAX if you can. It's an amazing experience. Enjoy. Meanwhile, the White House is monitoring new developments out of North Korea after the nation fired its 4th set of projectiles in less than 2 weeks. North Korea has repeatedly complained about the military exercises, saying they violate a pledge that President Trump made to Kim Jong-un. Now to a story you saw first on 10. A burglar was caught on camera breaking into a smoke shop in Palmetto Bay. It happened on Monday morning at the My Tobacconist shop on East Fern Street. Surveillance video shows the man there. You can see him wearing a black tank top, a dark hat, white fabric over his head. He's seen going into the back room before stealing cigars, lighters, and taking hundreds of dollars from the cash box. The burglar then boxes everything up, then takes off in less than 2 minutes. Now, the Broward Sheriff's Office is putting the spotlight on Parkland for its National Night Out. The annual event is meant to promote a sense of trust between law enforcement and the community. It features food trucks, family-friendly, and a new report from the United Nations is encouraging people to switch to plant-based diets in an effort to combat climate change. Our food system accounts for between 25 to 30% of greenhouse gases, which isn't good for our environment. And if the level of meat and dairy consumption rises in line with the current food habits, 2.3 million square miles of the forest would need to be converted to agriculture. By switching to vegan or vegetarian diets, that would help the environment instead. And wondering what else you can do instead of just slapping on some sunscreen to prevent skin cancer? A new national study suggests getting more vitamin A may help. Healthy sources of vitamin A include things like sweet potatoes, cantaloupe, carrots, broccoli, spinach. Yeah, during a study of 125,000 people, researchers found that those with the highest vitamin A daily intake were 17% less likely to get skin cancer. Vitamin A can also improve immunity as well as acne. And as you mentioned, Laren, this weekend was the wrong weekend to wash your car. Today may be the same.
This weekend was the wrong weekend to do anything. I got soaked yesterday helping a friend change or put air in her tire after church.
Yeah.
It was pouring down raining.
All weekend.
Pouring down.
Yesterday I was on my way into work and it was driving through a waterfall. I mean, intense. And you know what?